Hey everybody, I wasn't too comfortable with how we went over who and whom today. It was a little too rushed. And so this is a small or a brief presentation on the differences between who and whom. Okay? First of all, let's just keep in mind that when it comes to these two words, that who is part of what we would call a nominative case pronoun. And whenever you're dealing with nominative case pronouns, you're definitely talking about subjects and predicate nominatives. Okay, so if it fits that function in the sentence, that's what you're going to be using, this form. In other words, if the word he works or the word she works, then you're going to be going with whom. Who, I should say. When you want to choose whom, this is what we say is an objective case pronoun. We're going to use objective case for direct objects, for indirect objects, and for objects of the preposition. If you can substitute him or her and see if that works, then you know you're going with whom without a problem. Okay, so these are the steps that you follow. If there is a subordinate clause in the sentence, you isolate the subordinate clause. And when we say subordinate clause, very often it could begin with the word who or whom. Or in an exercise, it might begin with the actual blank. Once you're looking at that subordinate clause or that portion of the sentence, determine what you want to put in there. Do you want to put in a subject? Or is it a predicate nominative? Or a direct object or an indirect object or an object of a prep? And then once you've determined the part of speech you need, you can decide if it's a who or whom. Let's do a couple together. The artist blank painted that mural was Diego Rivera. Let's do step one. Isolate the subordinate clause. Here's your subordinate clause. Blank painted that mural. This is your independent clause. So within here, I want to find the verb. I have an object here. Painted what? Painted mural. Who or what painted the mural? So I'm looking in this blank for a subject. That means if I do my test, he should work, she should work. Well, in this case, I know it's Diego, so it's he. So he painted the mural? Yes, sounds good. It's a nominative case pronoun. So I'm going to go with whom, who. Mr. Smith, to blank I made the phone call, is a real estate broker. Here's my clause. I'm going to have to move this thing around a little bit. I have the verb made. Who or what made the phone call? I made the phone call. I made the phone call to blank. So sometimes you have to move things around, as in this case. Sometimes you don't. I made the phone call to he? No, I made the phone call to him. If him works, I'm looking at an objective case pronoun. And so therefore, whom is the word I'm going for. Let's see if you could do this one. There's my verb. Notice I'm not paying attention to the fact that the word with is before it. This entire section is the object of the preposition with. This whole clause. So do I say he wants to join us or him wants to join us? I would say he wants to join us. And so therefore, I go with who. Let's try one or two more. Three more. When you have a question, make it a statement. You do know blank your neighbors are. Your neighbors are blank. You do know your neighbors are they. You do know your neighbors are them. I have subject, verb, predicate, nominative here. You do know who your neighbors are. Right? Let's take it this one. Take a look at this one. George didn't know blank you were talking about. verb, subject. You were talking about they, you were talking about them. You were talking about them. Objective case, object of the prep. One last one. This is a question. Let's make it a statement. When will you figure out blank left the package behind? Verb is left. They left the package behind, or them left the package behind? They left the package behind. And so the answer becomes who. Hopefully that's a little clearer when you're playing the game with this. Just remember, you want to look for the subordinate clause and how it's functioning. Sometimes you don't have to move things around. Sometimes you do have to move things around. Once you figure out what you're looking for in the blank, determine what case it is, nominative or objective. And if it's nominative, go with who. And if it's objective, go with whom. I hope that makes things a little more clear. Thank you.